Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of the LTT Podcast. My name is BrendenPlayz. Apologies first of all, this show is a little late, and we'll get into why that is in a moment's time. But of course, this is the show where you send in the questions for me to answer, and we talk about all the latest in wrestling, a bit of sports, maybe some movies, maybe some TV, a little bit of everything that is on my mind. This week, plenty on my mind regarding Survivor Series. Very, very excited for it. I love Survivor Series. My favorite, I don't know if it's my favorite pay-per-view, but it's definitely one of them. Survivor Series matches itself is probably my favorite match of the year. But unfortunately, recent years, Survivor Series matches have been really, really bad. Obviously, a great one in 2014, an epic one, really. But this year, also looking like it's going to be a really, really good one as well. So I'm very, very excited for Survivor Series, and I cannot wait. So we're going to talk plenty about Survivor Series this week. Plenty of gaming chat as well. I've been gaming a lot. Just recently finished the Battlefield 1 campaign, which was cool. I'm umming and ahhing about whether or not I should get myself Watch Dogs 2 or Dishonored 2. Those are two games I really, really want. So we'll talk more about that later. But plenty of gaming, and I'm going to be doing a hell of a lot more coming up. But first of all, let's get into the show. So we'll start it off with why this is delayed. So today, I had my final exam of the semester, and I spent all of yesterday. It's currently Friday night where I am right now, as of recording. Now, normally I upload the show early, like I'm talking about 12 to 2 a.m. on a Friday for me. So it is pretty delayed. But reason being is because I had my exam early Friday morning. So earlier today, I had my final exam. Very, very difficult exam. It was on business statistics, something I'm really not very good at all. So I had to kind of spend a little bit extra time going over my notes there and just worrying about that. So I decided, hey, look, I'll delay this one, and next week we'll be back as usual. So I do apologize for the delay, but you guys understand. I've got to put the schoolwork first. But hey, it's the last exam. It's done. Now we can really begin to enjoy my time off. Now, basically, I don't have to do any more work until about early January. I've decided to pick up an extra course for the summer rather than wait until normally I am off between November and March, so I don't have to. My next semester would normally start in March, but now I'm going to take just one course over summer, so I'll have one to do, but that should be pretty easy to do. So for the most part, I've got until early March until I have to go back, and that will be hopefully my final semester in uni completely. So let's hope that's the case. So we're getting very close to actually finishing uni, which is actually really crazy. So it was good to kind of get it done today. Pretty hard exam, but I thought I did okay, which is good. So thanks to a couple of people who kind of sent me some tweets saying good luck and whatever. I appreciate that. But that's why the show is delayed this week, so I do apologize, but we should be back to our regular time next week. And we should be back to kind of uploading a little bit more frequently as well. Probably recently, my uploads have kind of been a little lackluster. I mean, the content and the quality, I think, is still the same, but I haven't been uploading maybe 2-3 times a day that I have been, maybe a couple of weeks ago. Pretty much because I've just been really enjoying playing other games, and obviously, recently uni work as well has kind of got in the way, but a few things have got in the way. Just been really enjoying my time playing other games, and I just haven't really wanted too much to kind of play WWE at the moment. I am still definitely enjoying my universe mode, and obviously have WrestleMania coming up, so I need to kind of get cracking there. I will be going on a holiday, I believe next weekend, I think I'm going on that. I don't know. I actually don't even know. But I think next weekend I am going away. So actually, there will be a week where I will actually miss the show. So I won't be able to do the show because I will be going on holiday for about a week. So I'll be going away. And I'm going to be doing some vlogs there and stuff. We're going to be going and doing a lot of different stuff. I actually don't really know, to be honest with you. I'm the type of person where someone plans a holiday for me, I just don't really care. I'll just show up, and whatever happens, whatever they've got planned for me, I'll go ahead and do. So I have really no idea. I have a couple ideas of what's going on, but for the most part, I keep forgetting, or I haven't really bothered to pay attention when they've been telling me what I'm going to be doing. So I'll be going away there, which is cool. So yeah, you guys will see plenty of that on the channel. I'll do some vlogs and things like that, and unfortunately, it'll mean that WrestleMania for Universe Mode will have to be a week later than perhaps it could have been because of me going away. But that's just the way it is. You know, a 1 week break would be good for me, I think. You know, I've been grinding the YouTube for a couple of years now. You know, I've been making videos since 2010, but you know, the last couple of years have been pretty intense, trying to make a video every single day, working hard at it. But, you know, it's always good to get a bit of a break. But I will probably be making videos in advance, so that's next week. I need to make like 7 videos in advance, so I have a video going up at least every day for you guys whilst I'm away. So that's going to be the real issue, the real work is going to be next week. So I will have to get busy on that. And, you know, I should be able to do it, but probably a couple Universe Mode episodes, a couple Career Modes, a couple GM Modes, and we should be sweet. So hopefully we can do that. Hopefully we can get that all done in time. So that should be next week, and that's going to be a busy time. But other than that, really nothing else going on. Been watching some movies lately. Been kind of getting back on the movie grind. Every now and then I get the urge to watch movies, and I'm a huge fan of the gangster or mafia or, you know, whatever you want to call it, that type of genre. You know, obviously I really like Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, the old school movies from the 80s and 90s, and I haven't quite gone back to the 70s yet. I haven't seen The Godfather and all that yet. I'm really wanting to, but I just can't be bothered to commit 3 hours to doing it. But, you know, I'm kind of watching some of those now, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So I've kind of been watching some movies, which is cool. In particular, I watched Carlito's Way the other day, which is awesome. Great movie, man. Really, really good. But yeah, so I've kind of just been doing a bit of that. You know, it's good to kind of, like, spice it up a bit. Like, you know, I like to watch something all the time. I'm a person who, I've got to be doing, like, 2 things at once. If I'm gaming, I need a podcast going at the same time, or I need a TV show, or I need sport. I need something going on at the same time just to kind of keep my mind distracted and keep it busy, because I don't know what's wrong with me. I just need something going at the same time. So I've always got to be watching something and listening to something and playing or doing something. So that's why, you know, watching movies for me, you know, sometimes you need to watch a movie like intently, otherwise you're going to miss some of it. But other movies you can kind of kick back, throw on, play some games and relax. And I've been able to do that the week or so, and I've been able to get my games finished, which is really good. That's my challenge. That's my goal for the summer. And yes, it is going to be summer here for all you people thinking, no, wait a second, it's winter. No, it's going to be summer here. I'm in Australia, so it's going to be summer right now. It is hot as shit right now. So trust me, it is summer. But, yeah, it's probably my goal for every summer, really, when I have time off, is finish as many damn games as I can, because I have bought way too many games for the amount of time that I have to play them. So now it's like I've got to sit down and I've got to finish my games. I've got to get it done. So that's the goal. And kind of watching some movies as well kind of keeps you you know, distracted enough where, like, if you're not enjoying a game or you're experiencing a really difficult part of a game, you can kind of grind through it. You know, I was playing the Battlefield 1 campaign, and there was a period in the campaign where one of the missions, one of the codex challenges that you had to do, one of the, you know, in-game challenges you had to do to get one of the achievements, was so frustrating. Very, very hard, very, very annoying. But, you know, just watching something as well kind of kept me at ease, and I was able just to kind of persevere. I don't know why the hell I'm talking about this. I did not plan to say this, but, you know, this is like the opening of the show where we just talk about random shit for 10 minutes and then we get into the real topics. But anyways, let's get into the real topic, shall we? Survivor Series coming up, but we will start with Smackdown this week. Normally we start with Raw, but this week I want to start with Smackdown. Obviously, Smackdown episode 900. Very, very highly rated. Incredible rating. Nearly beat Raw on the ratings. 2.7 million, I think, something like that. Raw got like 2.8 million. Yes, there's some numbers in between there, but, you know, very, very good rating this week. Considering SmackDown's ratings in recent times has actually been pretty poor. Because of the election and things like that. The ratings have taken a big hit. So this week was massive. A big, big viewer increase. And can you say it was because The Undertaker was on the show? I probably would say yes. I think The Undertaker showing up got, you know, an 800,000 view. I think they probably would have gained 400,000 viewers naturally naturally. So maybe Undertaker and maybe a bit of Edge as well. Who knows? Probably more so Undertaker may have gained an extra 400, 500,000 viewers, which is pretty incredible. So it goes to show the power the Undertaker still has, even in 2016. You know, we're talking about the Undertaker who debuted 1991. So it's been 25 years of the Undertaker, and which is incredible. You know, incredible that he's still able to have that drawing power now. Goes to show how much of a legend he really is. And I don't know how to feel about his appearance. I'm very, very mixed feelings because I don't know where the hell this is going. He kind of alluded to the fact that, hey, if you don't win, you're going to be hearing from me. You know, SmackDown, you don't win Survivor Series, you're going to be hearing from me, and you know, you better make sure you win. Otherwise, I'm going to be back to take souls and dig holes or whatever the hell he said. So, is that alluding to the fact that he may be back? Is he going to have another match? You know, what's going on there? Now, he kind of said as well that WrestleMania, he wants to prove that it's, you know, the only place, you know, he wants to be more than just WrestleMania. He wants to be known more than just WrestleMania. So that, to me, would suggest he's going to show up at another pay-per-view. Now, I think, to be honest, the perfect pay-per-view for him and the perfect match for him to be in would have been the 5-on-5 match itself. Now, I understand he just had hip surgery, so that could have stopped him from being able to compete in this match, unfortunately. But him being in the 5-on-5 instead of Shane McMahon would have been perfect. Really, just perfect. And, you know, he could come in, you know, maybe get a hot tag, clear everyone out, get a couple of pinfalls, maybe go face-to-face with Braun Strowman for a bit. Maybe Strowman pins the Undertaker. And maybe they set up for a match there. Or maybe, you know, someone from Raw. I don't know. But, you know, it would have been really cool to see him in there. But I guess, you know, injury will prevent that. But it's still, the door for the Royal Rumble is still open. And a lot of people kind of thinking, will we see Undertaker at the Royal Rumble compete? Obviously, they want to try and sell that building out. It's in Texas, his stomping ground. So there's a big chance we might see him at the Royal Rumble. Now, from what it looked like, obviously with a big, long stand down with Shane McMahon there, would that suggest they might go for Shane versus Undertaker again? I really hope not. I don't think that would be necessary. They could go with the whole Undertaker is going to blame Shane McMahon if they do lose. They're going to blame Shane McMahon for the loss, and Shane McMahon will be like, all right, well, you know, maybe it was me or whatever. So, you know, instead of me being in there, I'll find someone else to represent me and to take you on. I don't know. You could do something like that. So you can have Undertaker, you know, versus somebody else who's being represented by Shane McMahon. A lot of people think it could be AJ Styles and The Undertaker for a match, which I think would be great, and I think it would make a lot of sense because, well, how much longer can they drag the Dean Ambrose thing out for? You know, Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles has kind of happened many times now. It's going to happen one more time at TLC, which I assume that Styles will win again and retain, and that will probably end the whole Ellsworth and Ambrose and Styles storyline completely. Maybe it could lead to Ellsworth actually being gone from the company, I don't know. Or taking on a different role, a different storyline he might insert himself into, I'm not sure. But it could also lead to, you know, a new opponent for AJ Styles. Obviously, Cena's still gone, which I still think they're going to do Cena and Styles again at some point. It's just a matter of when Cena's going to come back. Many believe probably the Royal Rumble, you know, could be an option. So it may be Styles and Cena there, but, you know, it could be Styles and The Undertaker. It's very possible. Very, very possible. Because they will need a new opponent. And probably the one issue that SmackDown has right now is that beyond Dean Ambrose, who else is really there to step up to take on AJ Styles? For some reason, they've really cooled off Randy Orton. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Randy Orton looked like an afterthought. You know, in that 5-on-5 stare down they had on Raw, Randy Orton just looked like a regular dude. You know, didn't look like a factor. And that's the Bray Wyatt effect, I guess. You know, why Randy Orton is in this storyline, I have no idea. It's not working at all. I mean, it's going to lead to the obvious, inevitable turn on Bray Wyatt. Randy Orton's going to hit the RK on Bray and all of a sudden be cured from this, you know, spell or whatever the hell he's under. So I don't know. I just don't know what they're doing with Randy Orton and where this is leading to. They're not really doing much with it on the week-to-week shows at the moment to really suggest or give us an idea where they're going with it. So that's frustrating right now. And Randy Orton, well, at one point, when he was taking on Lesnar, massive reactions. Every time he came out to the ring, the crowd was going nuts for him. So I thought for sure he would be the next guy to take on AJ Styles after the Ambrose and Cena thing, but it doesn't seem to be the case anymore. So I know there's a lot of rumors as well that it could be Randy Orton and the Undertaker. Undertaker's going to try and revenge Kane or whatever. They did the Kane, they did the Brothers of Destruction pose after SmackDown as well. So maybe that's possible, but I don't know. And it's just all of a matter of whether or not Undertaker's going to wrestle anytime soon. I have no idea who he will face at WrestleMania. A lot of people still think it could be John Cena. I don't know if it will be. I don't know if they're ever going to execute the trigger on that match and finally do that. I think it's really a bit of a case of now or never, to be honest. So we'll see. We'll see if they do it. We'll see if they don't. But the Cutting Edge segment was good. Edge, sporting the long beard, also has the long hair again. So he looked different, but, he looks like the Edge of old, to be honest with you. I thought the short hair just looks so different, just something I just couldn't get my head around. But now it looks like the Edge of old. Obviously, he's not going to come back for a match or anything like that, let's be honest. But, he looked good out there. He wasn't really much of a factor, didn't really do much or say much. He said what he had to say, then he kind of just stood in the background for the rest of it, which is fine, which is all he needed to do, really. So, I think Edge, though, you look back in SmackDown's history, he was a huge part of it. Probably during a time where I personally didn't really watch WWE, between 2008 and 2011. Edge was, the face of SmackDown. He was the vocal point of SmackDown for a lot of that time. He was the main guy. He was the world champion. That's where he won the world title a gazillion times. A hell of a lot more than he should have. It was on the SmackDown brand. He won it over and over and over. So he was obviously the top guy in SmackDown, a one-of for a long time there. So he had a big role to play on SmackDown's success. And obviously he was there in the early 2000s as well when it first came around. When you look at the Paul Heyman era of SmackDown, Edge was a part of that as well. So Edge being there, I think, makes sense. And Undertaker as well. I've always seen Undertaker as a SmackDown guy as well. So it's always good to see him show up on the blue brand. And, certainly two guys, if they're going to pick two guys to come out there for SmackDown 900, they certainly picked two guys who did make a lot of sense, to be honest with you. So I had no problem with that. Earlier on in the show, we had The Miz win back the Intercontinental Championship. Now, I'm a little surprised that this actually happened. The match was spoiled for me. I watched SmackDown on about half an hour delay after I was starting to watch it about half an hour after the show began. So, unfortunately, I went on Twitter. That was my fault. I went on Twitter during, SmackDown, and first tweet I saw, Miz, Intercontinental Champion. So that was a little frustrating, but to be honest with you, I'm a little surprised. I kind of thought Ziggler would hang on to it, and they would do the Zayn versus Ziggler thing. But now it's kind of like, well, it makes a little bit more sense because they'll have, a heel versus a face, Miz versus Zayn, a little bit more sense being made there. But, obviously they didn't want to get rid of the Miz either and trade him out or anything like that. So, I think Miz on SmackDown is the perfect fit for him. We talked about it last week on the show. Can Miz go to Raw and find the same success? I don't know if he can. I don't know if he'd get the creative freedom that he has on SmackDown. He might get a little bit more time here and there, but I don't know if more time is as good as quality time. That's the thing with Raw. I watched SmackDown this week, and you watched Raw the day before, and Raw, it's good. Raw, don't get me wrong, Raw was not bad this week. I actually thought Raw was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. But most weeks when you watch Raw, you watch it, and then you keep watching it, if you know what I mean. You watch it, and it's an hour and a half, 2 hours past, and then you look at your watch, you look at the clock, and you go, oh, wait, we're only halfway through. We're only halfway through the show. So whilst they have more time, it doesn't mean it's necessarily quality time. SmackDown may have less time as a show, but I think the minutes that they have, they spend producing more quality. So The Miz being on SmackDown, I think he may get only 5 to 10 minutes a show, but he could be utilizing that and turning that into more quality time rather than maybe getting 15 minutes on Raw, but maybe only half of it's really that good, to be honest with you. If you get what I mean. I'm just trying to explain my reasoning there. But, yeah, a little surprised he's champion again. He obviously championed many, many times. Intercontinental champion, what is it, 6 times now? So he's really kind of had the Intercontinental Championship many, many times. He really kind of made it his own in the last maybe 4 years or so. I mean, he kind of wins it every now and then, doesn't he? Just always, probably once a year he's won it, to be honest with you. So, I have no problem with it, honestly with you. I think The Miz is a better champion than Ziggler at this point. I think Miz, his character and I think everything he's doing has been great. Cooled off a little bit lately, in my opinion. I think he's cooled off. But I think he can certainly get that back as well. So we'll have to wait and see. A little disappointing for Ziggler, but hey, Ziggler's kind of been eating shit for years now. But I think Ziggler's better chasing, whereas Miz is better champion. Miz chasing just doesn't feel right. So Miz is champion now. It may go back to Miz striking a bit more gold. And I think they might be onto that as well. I think they might have realized that hey, yes, we gave Ziggler the championship, but it's far more entertaining when Ziggler's chasing and Miz is the champion. So I don't know how long Miz will be champion for. The problem with SmackDown, and we've been saying it for months now, is their mid-card is really non-existent. There really isn't much there to really go on about. They brought back Kalisto, and I guess that will segue into the next thing I want to talk about with Kalisto. But they don't really have many mid-carders at all, so I thought maybe Ziggler and Baron Corbin could have something there. Maybe, we've already seen that though, which is the issue, but maybe Baron Corbin can win the IC title. If Apollo Crews wasn't getting beat by, Kurt Hawkins and, people like that, maybe he could be a factor, but he's certainly not, so I have no idea who's going to beat The Miz. But Kalisto, he's an option, and Kalisto obviously has a match against Kendrick at Survivor Series. Had a match against Oney Lorcan this week on SmackDown. Obviously from NXT, obviously a well-known independent guy. No issues from Oney Lorcan. I thought he performed quite well in the ring. My issue is Kalisto. I mean, I watch his matches now, and I just shake my head. Just slap my hand on my face with a face palm, going, what the hell? This guy... I've always defended Kalisto for about a year now. Thinking, this guy, give him some time. He could really get over with the fans. He might not be Rey Mysterio, but he can be a factor. He can be something. I gotta take it back. I've realized that, he's not. In the ring, he's no Rey Mysterio. He botching simple moves, trying to springboard off the ropes, something that, he should be able to perfect by now. He should be able to do it comfortably. I get it, maybe he hasn't been in the ring that much lately, maybe just a simple slip, but it's frustrating. It's frustrating when they're trying to get this cruiserweight thing over. They're trying so hard to get Kalisto over. They gave him a job match. They gave him a job guy. Lorcan may not be a job guy one day, but at the moment he is. That's why he's there. He's not going to be on SmackDown permanently. He's there for one match and one match only. They gave him an enhancement guy to put him over, and really, Lorcan looked better than him in the match anyways. The match was just a complete clusterfuck. They obviously botched the finish. They had to do a new finish on the fly. The match kind of just ended abruptly. It was just terrible. Just terrible, and I blame Kalisto for that, not Lorcan at all. And now they're going to do this whole... If SmackDown wins, they get the whole division at Survivor Series. Which, by the way, is just ludicrous, that storyline. Why the hell would Mick Foley want to give up the entire Cruiserweight division? Does he not want it that badly? I mean, to be honest with you, I don't blame him for not wanting it if he didn't want it, because the Cruiserweights have just been absolutely abysmal. So, is he like, well, hey, if we lose, we lose. Oh, well, we'll lose the whole division. That's fine with me. This is a way we can get rid of it. So it could be a case of that, but look, I don't know. I don't know why in storyline anyone would want to put the whole division up for grabs. For what? What does it prove if Kendrick beats Kalisto? Kalisto's not a part of the Cruiserweight division. He's a Cruiserweight who's not on Raw. What does it prove? That, hey, Raw's got the better Cruiserweights? Well, no shit. You have the Cruiserweight division. You better have the better Cruiserweights. I'd be worried if you didn't. I don't know what it proves. I don't know what the hell the point is. The match is it SmackDown versus Raw? Yes, but what is it? The Cruiserweight champion. What is he? If he beats Kalisto, well, okay. He should. He's the Cruiserweight champ. He should be beating a a random cruiserweight on the other brand who's not a champion or anything like that. He should be winning these matches. So it does nothing for Kendrick. It does everything for Kalisto and SmackDown. If they win, well, Kalisto gets the belt, and SmackDown get the entire division, which is huge for SmackDown. But I'm kind of looking at SmackDown right now, and I'm wondering how the hell they can fit the Cruiserweight division in on SmackDown when they, for the most part, it's a pretty compact 2-hour show. I don't know how they could fit this whole 10, 15 guys they're going to be bringing in into SmackDown 2 hours when they barely can do it on Raw with 3 hours. So I don't know. I don't know. The Cruiserweights need to stay on Raw. Now, as bad as it has been on Raw, it needs to stay there because it gives something different for Raw. They just got to start doing something with it. I hope when Grand Metalik comes, he can spark something there because he is freaking awesome. I look at Kalisto, and then I look at Grand Metalik, and I kind of say, well, fuck Kalisto. Give Metalik that push. Give Metalik the high, the high matches. Give him the title matches. Give him the craze. Give him the credit. Give him the time, because he is far better than Kalisto ever will be in that ring. The master of the ropes for a reason, and I haven't seen too many of his matches, but every time I see him, my jaw is dropped. I'm just amazed at the shit he can do in the ring. It's incredible. So I don't want to watch too many, because when I want to watch him on Raw when he comes pretty soon, I want to be surprised. I want to be amazed. I want to enjoy that. So I don't want to spoil myself too early. So, I look at Kalisto and I just think in the back of my mind, Grand Metalik's coming soon. And I just kind of say, well, okay, well, forget Kalisto then. It's all going to be about Metalik. The only issue with Metalik is he can't talk, but, in the ring, he's fantastic. So I think Kalisto, like Sin Cara, I still don't know how Sin Cara has a job. Sin Cara and Brian Kendrick on Raw this week was a snooze. Sin Cara, he sucks so bad as well. He's a troublemaker backstage, obviously getting into a backstage altercation, well, on the road altercation with Chris Jericho. Sin Cara is just a troublemaker who isn't over, doesn't draw anybody, doesn't sell any merch, doesn't do anything. I don't know how he still has a job. I don't know why they still persist with the character. It's a dead character. It's done, and the crowd couldn't give a fuck when he wrestled Kendrick. And Kalisto's heading down that same path. I don't think the crowd really care anymore. And the whole Lucha chant keeps him above water, but for how much longer? If he keeps botching in the ring, if he keeps failing in the ring, his promo, let's not forget the classic infamous promo that he did, at the draft. I don't think he's cut a promo since, and I don't think he ever will. Was one of the worst promos I've ever heard in my life. So Kalisto, for me, a guy who failed miserably as US champion, Kalisto, for me, needs to really step up his game. Otherwise, I have no reason to see him on SmackDown anymore. I have really no desire, no reason why he should be in the spot that he is when, there's plenty of other guys who deserve to be there more than him. He's been around for a couple of years now. He's been been in Mexico for many, many years. He was in developmental for a while. He needs to step it up. He should be a lot better than what he is right now. Botching simple moves in a time where this Cruiserweight division needs perfection. They need great matches. They need impressive performances. He's not helping the cause at all. And it's frustrating as a viewer. It's embarrassing as a viewer when they're trying to make this Cruiserweight division great. And, guys like Sin Cara and Kalisto, who really should be veterans, they should be the guys who are leading by example, are failing miserably. And how are these new guys going to get over when guys like Kalisto and Sin Cara are really just shit in the bed? That's just my opinion. You may disagree with that. That's perfectly fine. You guys may love Kalisto. I've, talked to some people who love Kalisto, think he's great. And I did at one point too. I really, back when he had that great TLC spot or whatever it was, with the Salida del Sol, that it was crazy, it was nuts. We thought, oh man, Kalisto's awesome. Got a US title run because of it. And he just didn't step up. He never stepped up at one point. And now I'm still wondering, when is he going to step up? When is Kalisto going to prove that he deserves to be in the position that he's been in? I don't know. I don't know if he can. I'm still waiting. Anyways, we'll move on from that. That's a nice little Kalisto round. I Didn't expect to shit on him that much. I knew I was going to shit on him this week, but that's a good 5 minutes. 5-minute rant on him. Anyways, brand versus brand interferences. Raw women's tag team match interfering on SmackDown. I like it. A lot of people are kind of like, well, why are we interfering too early? Why are we having brand versus brand matches already? I like the whole concept of brand versus brand. Survivor Series is the perfect time to do it. And I think everyone has kind of had enough time to really see which show's better and pick a show that they like the most. For me, it's SmackDown. SmackDown's the show that I enjoy the most. People have been saying, hey, you hated SmackDown. You never watched SmackDown 3 years ago. Why do you watch SmackDown now? Well, it's a no-brainer. There's a brand split now. SmackDown's completely different to Raw. So I was always a SmackDown fan when the brand split happened years ago. So it's only natural that I enjoy SmackDown the most now. And it's not just because I like SmackDown, it's because I think the show's better. I like the talent more on SmackDown, and I think the show's better, far better than Raw. But I like the brand versus brand altercations, and I like that they interfered. They came in through the crowd, they did that on Raw, and they did it on SmackDown. I like that. I think that's great. I think that was a good decision. I think it's entertaining. I think it's a great way to set up for Survivor Series, because otherwise, realistically, you're heading in towards a pay-per-view with 3 teams versing each other who have not even, met, haven't even had any altercations with each other since before the brand split. And they obviously weren't teams or anything like that either. So you kind of needed to do something, and what they did was great. I really enjoyed the one they did on Raw, and the one on SmackDown with the women as well, I thought was pretty good as well. And we'll get into my Survivor Series predictions in a moment, but I'm really looking forward to this pay-per-view. I think it's really shaping up to be fantastic. This week was really the week of odd couples for Raw. A lot of guys who are going to be teaming up, versing each other. A lot of guys who, heels and faces teaming up against each other to take on other heels and faces. The odd couples, which I think is good. I like that. It's something different. It's something that you don't see too often, which is fine. And obviously, you kind of need to do that as well for that Survivor Series element to the teams. So I like what they did there. It makes sense. I like that. And I think it's entertaining. Alright, moving on. Goldberg and Lesnar finally had an altercation. Face-to-face. They had the security in the ring with them, which I thought was a little silly. I think they should have just been standing face-to-face, eye-to-eye, man-to-man. I get why they had security. They want to ruin the main event. They want to preserve the main event. We don't want to risk it. Whatever. I get that. But it just looked a little silly. But Goldberg took the shirt off finally. We got to see how he looks. He's in shape. He looks good. He looks in good shape. He's got that old man body. Like the heavily tanned old guy. That type of body. Like it's similar to like a Hogan type of body. Not as bad as Hogan, but they got the super tanned, still kind of jacked, but not as big as he was. Obviously, why would he be? But he looks good. Looks good. Looks better than I thought he was going to look, to be honest with you. So, there's no question about his look. Yes, he's missing some muscle mass. Yes, he's missing some size. Lesnar looks like he's gained weight. He looks like he's bigger. Not as toned or defined as he probably was. Perhaps he's trying to bulk up a bit again. So he looks like he's just gained a bit of weight, which is fine. So Lesnar looks big, and Goldberg looks pretty small in comparison. So that's an issue that they have, but that's an issue that Lesnar has with pretty much everybody in the world who's going to go up against him. So let's be honest, that's something he just can't handle, can't do anything about. But apparently Goldberg tweaked his shoulder or hurt his shoulder during the altercation when he shrugged off a couple security guards, and we thought, oh, finally we're going to get Lesnar and Goldberg. Didn't happen. So for Goldberg to injure his shoulder just before Survivor Series, when all he did was shrug a few guys away, that's very, very worrying. I don't know about you guys, but I am very concerned for Goldberg's health in this match. When I saw Goldberg and Lesnar, Undertaker and Lesnar, I really struggled to watch the match because every time Undertaker got German suplexed, I feared for his health. I thought he was never going to get back up. And that's never happened to me much before. Like, I've never really watched someone who's old, and I just thought, oh god, what's going to happen to this guy? Maybe another instance might have been Sting, but to a lesser extent, more so the Undertaker and Lesnar. I've watched him and I just gone, my god, is this guy going to get up? This guy's going to kill himself right here. Lesnar's going to destroy him. He's going to break his neck. Thankfully, that never happened. But Goldberg, I worry. I worry for the guy because it could very well happen. He could very well injure himself thanks to Lesnar. So let's hope that he gets out of this match unscathed. He has the match he wants to have, and his kid can finally see him and he can move on. I like Goldberg's promos. He's come back, he's stepped up his promo game. It's been great. So far, in anything we've seen in the ring has kind of been a little sloppy, so that's concerning. I don't know what type of match Lesnar's going to have with him. I think the whole suplex repeat 20 times in a match getting a little old. I think he still will do that because that's his gimmick. That's what he does. I think Goldberg will probably hit a spear, hit a jackhammer, and Lesnar will probably kick out, and then Lesnar will hit an F5, and that'll be it. Something along those lines. So let's hope Goldberg steps up, performs good enough. A passing grade is all I want from Goldberg. I don't expect him to put on a classic. Let's be honest, the guy hasn't had a match in 12 years. He's not going to put on a classic. But I would expect him to get through with a passable, just a C. Just a passable performance. All I want is a C. A C grade. That's it. Lesnar, he needs to step up this one. Lesnar's been really lazy, in my opinion, in the ring the last year or so. Certainly, you look back at his match with Dean Ambrose, it was very, very lazy, very poor. So, I hope Lesnar can step it up. The match he had with Orton was very disappointing as well. So, Lesnar's going to have to step it up, in my opinion, because otherwise this could be another shit show. Well, I hope it's not. I hope Lesnar does something to kind of fix that. Finally, I want to talk about this State of the Union address they had. Obviously, they did a bit of it on Raw, then it led into the the brand versus brand altercation with the ending there. Like I said before, I really enjoyed that. They did a State of the Union address on the WWE Network after Raw. I would say I thought that was a shit show. I thought that was really bad. From Mick Foley blabbing on about random shit for 10 minutes, and I think they were on for maybe 20 minutes, the GMs, and I think Foley probably talked for about 15 minutes of it. He just went on and on and on about everything. And you could see that everyone else was getting frustrated at him. Everyone else was trying to bring it back. Stephanie and Renee Young were trying to bring it back to what it should be all about. But Foley just kept going on this tangent about just random crap. It was literally a shit show. I would not recommend it at all. I was watching it and I'm going, man, this is bad. I can't believe this was WWE quality. From water bottles falling over to it just didn't feel like WWE quality. It felt like something TNA would produce or something like that. It was very poor quality, very poorly done, and if I was WWE, I would just delete that. I would delete that off the network because it was not good. They really didn't talk about anything. It really wasn't much to really say at all. So that was disappointing. I was looking forward to that. I thought that was going to be great, but I would say Foley was a major reason for that going downhill. Alright, so we'll get into my Survivor Series predictions now. We'll talk about the upcoming Survivor Series pay-per-view and who I think is going to win every single match on the show. My predictions where I think it's all going to go and how it's all going to go down. Alrighty, so let's start right here with The Miz versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. A lot of rumors going around that Sami Zayn's going to win the IC title and that probably Kalisto's going to win the Cruiserweight title and they're going to swap those two titles in between brands. I think that would be a bad idea. There's no reason why they should have the US title and the IC title, which are two titles, in my opinion, that are on the same level, on the same show. I think it makes no sense whatsoever. I think the IC title needs to stay on SmackDown, and I think The Miz deserves to probably beat Sami Zayn, in my honest opinion. So I would have The Miz win, and I would have Sami Zayn lose that one, because I think the IC title needs to stay, especially, if they put the US title on the line, and maybe Reigns loses the US title to someone from SmackDown, and The Miz loses the title to someone from Raw, that's perfectly fine. Do just a straight swap, and swap both titles over, that's fine. But they're not doing that. Instead, the only option is the Cruiserweight Championship between Kendrick and Kalisto, which I think it would be a poor idea to swap the entire division to SmackDown. I get it that 205 Live is going to be on SmackDown, so they could potentially switch it over to kind of, coincide with 205 Live, but I think it would still be a bad idea. I think they've talked up Raw for so long that this is the home of the Cruiserweights, blah, 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 and Raw has more time. I feel like if they switch the Cruiserweights to SmackDown, it's going to get even less time. It's going to get 10 minutes a show. It's going to just, really fade away. Instead, they've got to start stepping it up on Raw. They've got to start, building this division. They've got to start picking it up and start building it to something, great. And start getting these guys over. Change some gimmicks, change some looks, do something to the Cruiserweights because it's not working at all. And I don't know what they can do to fix it at this point. And I, wish I had the answer. I'd get paid a lot of money if I did, but I don't. But they need to do something. They've got to try something different because what they're doing right now, I get it. They're having a big high-profile match for the Cruiserweight Championship on the pay-per-view. I get what they're trying to do, but still, I don't think it's a good idea, and I would have Kendrick retain, which means, well, both those matches, both, I guess, would be one for Raw, one for SmackDown. We have Team Raw versus Team SmackDown for the tag teams. We have the New Day, Sheamus and Cesaro, Luke Gallows and Anderson, Enzo and Cass, and the Shining Stars versus SmackDown's Heath Slater and Rhino, the Hype Bros, American Alpha, the Usos, and Breezango. I think in this one I would have Raw win. I think Raw has the better tag division by far. You look at the two teams, apart from the Shining Stars, the Team Raw is actually a pretty damn good team. SmackDown, Slater and Rhino have really cooled off. The Hype Bros haven't really gotten anywhere yet. American Alpha has been great, but they haven't really done a lot with them lately either. Probably the Usos are the best team on that team. And Breezango, a new gimmick for them. They're trying something different with them. I think it's going to, take off a little bit. And I've been enjoying what they're doing so far with them. So far, so good for sure. But they just need to do a little bit more with them to kind of get them over. And so that's a work in progress. So I think SmackDown's tag teams have got there's a lot of new teams there that they need to continue to establish. 3 brand new teams there. Well, you want to include Slater and Rhino, 4 teams there that haven't been around for that long that are still trying to establish. So, in terms of, I'm looking at these matches in terms of star power. In terms of, in kayfabe, which team should win. Which team is the stronger team. I'm not looking at it in any other way. That's just kind of how I perceive it. So, in terms of that, who do I think has the best teams? I think Team Raw, without a doubt, which should win that one. Team Raw versus Team SmackDown for the women's. We have Charlotte, Bayley, Nia Jax, Alicia Fox, and Sasha Banks, with Dana Brooke in their corner. For Raw versus SmackDown's Nikki Bella, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Carmella, and Naomi, with Natalya in their corner. Now, I personally think Raw has the better star power. Now, I'm kind of contradicting what I just said a moment ago. I think overall, SmackDown should win Survivor Series. I think for too long, Raw has always been perceived as the dominant brand. And I think it's time that they allow SmackDown to be in that position. It's time that they try and elevate SmackDown. It's time that they try and let the audience know that SmackDown's the real deal as well. I think a lot of people still believe that SmackDown is just a second filler show. They don't realize, and it's crazy to think, but it is true, a lot of people don't realize that SmackDown's different now. That there is a brand split. A lot of people just think Raw's the only show worth watching. When really, SmackDown's worth more watching than Raw nowadays. So I think they need to have SmackDown win Survivor Series overall. Now, this is the tough one. Do you have the SmackDown tag team win for SmackDown, or do you have the SmackDown women's team win? Team Raw, Charlotte, Bayley, Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, and we'll take out Alicia Fox. That's a very damn good team. That's the 4 top women in the company right there on the show, on that team, I should say. SmackDown have Nikki Bella, who, by the way, should not be team captain. It should be Becky Lynch. I don't know why they went with that. They have Becky Lynch. So the 2 really good women. Alexa Bliss, who's up and coming. Carmella, who's up and coming. And Naomi, who's reinvented herself, getting some momentum, doing pretty well for herself. but needs some more time. So realistically, Raw has the better women's team, without a doubt. I think they have easily. So it would have to be an upset. For SmackDown to win this, it'd have to be an upset for either the women's or the tag match. I think more likely, now that I'm thinking about it, it probably would be more of the case that the tag teams could get the upset. I just think Nia Jax will just beat the shit out of most of the women in that match, let's be honest. Who the hell's going to beat her? I can't see anyone. I think Nia Jax will probably pin 3 or 4 people. She'll dominate the whole match, in my opinion. She'll just, destroy probably Naomi, Carmella, and Alexa Bliss. Maybe Nikki Bella as well, and probably Becky Lynch will be the last woman standing trying to fight for her life. And maybe she'll get an upset pin over a couple people or something like that, but, we'll have nothing left. So I'll take it back. I'm going to say SmackDown will win the tag, and I think Raw will win the women's. Now it leads to Team Raw versus SmackDown for the singles for the men. Like I said, I think SmackDown needs to win this overall. So I think SmackDown's going to win this match as well. And I always thought SmackDown was going to. I think Owens and Jericho, Reigns, Strowman, and Rollins versus Styles, Ambrose, White, Orton, and Shane McMahon now. I think, in my opinion, I think SmackDown's probably the better team. Strowman, by the way, who has just been awesome. Strowman, he really could be a major factor in a year. Like, I'm thinking maybe 6 months to a year, he could be a major factor on Raw. He's doing great. I think the crowd are really starting to get behind him. His backstage skits, are kind of funny, just the way he reacts to things. He doesn't say much, but he doesn't have to. He's got this deep voice. When you hear him, you kind of go, you definitely listen. I think he's been doing fantastic. So I wouldn't surprise me if he picks up a couple wins. I said it last week, I believe Bray Wyatt will have a big factor in how Strowman is eliminated. I think Bray Wyatt may be able to, do some kind of mind control shit that'll get Strowman counted out or leave the ring or something like that, and he'll leave the arena. He'll do something crazy like that where, or maybe, Harper will come out as well and Strowman will go nuts. I don't know. Something stupid to get Strowman out of there. I think Roman Reigns will probably be the MVP for Raw. I think he'll probably, to be honest with you, it wouldn't surprise me if he's the last man left. If SmackDown's going to win, I'd say Reigns will be the last guy standing. It might be Ambrose versus Reigns at the end. It could be Styles versus Reigns at the end. All I know right now is that this is probably going to be the match of the night. This is going to be a great match. Could go either way, honest with you. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they wanted to keep reaffirming that Raw's the number one show. But in my honest opinion, I think SmackDown needs to win. And I think that's the way it should be. I think it's possible that they might tease the turn of Jericho and Owens. They might have, some dissension between the two. Who's really the rightful captain or something like that. They might tease something like that. It's possible. Maybe Rollins walks out on his team because he's sick of Owens and Jericho and the way they're trying to control the team. And by the way, why would Seth Rollins want to, win for Team Raw? Stephanie's put him in a bad position. Stephanie's been treating him poorly. Realistically, Rollins probably should walk out. He probably shouldn't give a damn. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's something like that does happen. Bit of dissension between Team Raw causes them to kind of, turn on each other or something like that, and SmackDown can pick up the win and get the win as well. So that's kind of where I see it. I think SmackDown should win the show. I mean, it could go either way, honestly with you, but if I'm biased, I like SmackDown a lot, but if I'm looking at the future of both brands, I think SmackDown needs this win. And what I think may be the main event, I don't know. I don't know if Lesnar and Goldberg should main event. I think Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, the men's, should main event. So this could be one of the high-profile matches, perhaps. I think Survivor Series is 4 hours long, right? So maybe this could be the start of Hour 3 or Hour 2 or something like that. Lesnar and Goldberg. Without a doubt, Lesnar's going to win. I won't spend too much time on this. We did a moment ago. Lesnar's going to win. Goldberg will put up a fight, get a couple of moves in, but that's going to be it. Lesnar's going to dominate him. Going to win, and I think Goldberg will be done and maybe get in the Hall of Fame at WrestleMania time next year. That's Survivor Series. That's all there is to say about that. I think I'm actually super excited. This is probably the most excited I have been for a pay-per-view in a long time. Probably since WrestleMania, to be honest with you, and WrestleMania was a huge letdown. But I'm super excited for this pay-per-view. I think this is going to be really, really great. Honestly, honest to God, I think this is going to be a great show. I love the 5-5 concept. 3 in one night, I think, is a little much, but I get why they did it, so I'm okay with it. I'm really looking forward to the men's singles, the men's Survivor Series tag match. I think that's going to be terrific. Really, really good. So I cannot wait for that. And Goldberg and Lesnar will be interesting. Probably the only match I think will probably be pretty lame will be Kendrick and Kalisto. Miz and Sami Zayn will probably put a good match. I think overall the card's looking strong. I think they might add an extra match or two on there because it seems as though they're probably missing a match or two. It seems a little, for a 4-hour show, I guess Survivor Series tag matches generally do go for at least half an hour. They need to. Otherwise, it doesn't make much sense. Getting people, like an AJ Styles getting beat in 5 minutes would be stupid, So I think those matches could be long, but I don't know where they're going to fill in a lot of the time elsewhere. So, we'll see how they go. They might add an extra cruiserweight match, probably for the pre-show. I don't know. We'll see. But that's really all I have to say about that. I was going to talk about some gaming stuff this week, but, I kind of touched on it earlier on in the show. So we'll get into our questions this week, and then we'll wrap things up. So let's kick it off here. We got the first question coming in from Roy the Boy. Which brand do you think Samoa Joe will get drafted to? I think without a doubt it'll be SmackDown. I don't know when he will. I don't know when the next call-up's going to be. A lot of people have been asking me when I think that's going to be, who I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I think probably after WrestleMania. I think they've debuted so many people this year that it would be probably a bad idea to debut anymore. Plus, NXT is really suffering right now. I know I'm going to see NXT in 2 weeks' time when they come into Australia. I'll be at that NXT show. It might be 3 weeks' time, actually. But I'll be seeing them, and there really isn't much on the card to really look forward to. Now that Aries and Atami are both injured as well, they really are suffering for talent and star power down there. So it wouldn't shock me if Samoa Joe stays down there a little longer than perhaps they planned or anticipated, or we planned and anticipated. This one's from Thomas Speller. Do you see a main eventer winning a mid-card title this year? Well, not this year, but maybe, next year for sure. Roman Reigns is a main eventer holding a mid-card title right now. But do I see anyone else stepping down from the main event to kind of go for a mid-card belt? I could see maybe a Randy Orton do it. I could see maybe a Bray Wyatt. I think it might be time for Bray Wyatt to win some gold. I think him being Intercontinental Champion would be great. I could see maybe Seth Rollins doing it. I think he's been involved in the world title picture for a long time. I could see him maybe stepping down, going for the US title for a bit, just to kind of freshen him up for later. So there's a couple names I definitely could see kind of stepping down and going for those championships. Johnny Dixon, do you think that Chris Jericho deserves one last title run with any title? I thought the US title would have been great for Jericho right now. I think you could have had him hold the US title for a couple months and say, Jericho, Owens and Jericho, we run Raw, we're the champions of Raw, whatever. They kind of went with that kind of angle. But I get it. Reigns has to have a title. So, fortunately, probably no. Could I see him winning the Universal title? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's really up in the air how long he's going to be around for. He keeps extending his deals. He keeps staying around just a little longer. So it's up in the air how long he'll be here for. Hopefully as long as possible. I hope he can stretch it out till WrestleMania, to be honest with you. I don't know if he can. But let's hope. Let's hope he can do something. Let's hope he can have a couple more good storylines. A championship run, I don't see it happening, but stranger things have happened. I think he's really here. He needs to be here to put guys over, not win championships. But I get it. He's been doing so well. He's probably one of the most over guys on the roster right now. But that doesn't necessarily mean he needs a championship. I think he'd be a great champion. Have him a 1 or 2 month reign as a champ, and let someone else beat him for it. I think it'd be great. But I think Owens is doing great as champion himself. So it'd be probably a shame to let him lose the Universal title to Jericho. From Fetty Palmer. With the Rumble being a 4-hour show, not including the pre-show, do you see them doing a bigger Rumble match, or maybe even a small women's Rumble match? But it seems unlikely. I don't think they'll do a 40-man Rumble. I don't see them doing that. A women's Rumble, I could see them doing that. They've kind of talked about it for a long time that, we're doing innovative stuff. The women's doing, all this crazy stuff. We're doing Hell in a Cell matches. They're trying to main event. They've been really, at the last 6 months, trying to elevate the women onto the same level as the men in a lot of ways. And another step towards that would be a women's Rumble. I think a 15 women's Rumble match would be fine. From SmackDown on Raw, I think they could fill 15 in there fine. Maybe bring back a legend. Maybe Mickie James shows up or something like that. I don't know, but bring back a couple legends in there as well. Maybe a Victoria. Maybe just whoever they can bring in. Just bring them in for a small little deal and have something exciting for the women, something different. So a 15 women's Rumble could be cool. I think it'd be great. And whoever wins can choose which brand they want to go to, which championship they want to fight for at WrestleMania. The men do it. I mean, why can't the women do it? So I think that's very, very possible. I don't think a 40-man Rumble, but I think they could do a women's Rumble. Thomas Speller, how would you improve the women's division in the WWE? Honestly, I think what the WWE is doing right now with the women has been great. I was thinking about it earlier today. Look at the women 4 years ago compared to now. I watched Total Divas, the return of Total Divas yesterday, and I was kind of thinking, because Maurice was on there and things like that, I was kind of thinking about when Maurice was champion, and when Brie Bella was champion, and that period of time, was that 2010 or something like that, and go forward a little bit further to 2012 when I started watching again, and the women were just, no one gave a flying fuck. It was just a waste of time. The women came on the show, it was annoying. No one wanted to see them at all. They didn't look as good as they did 10 years ago. They didn't let them wear more revealing clothing. So the eye candy factor was really gone. And the matches they were doing was nothing to really care about. So you look at them now, look at the women now compared to then, they have improved so much. So the WWE have really done a lot of great things to improve the women's division. I kind of shitted on the women's revolution last year, but I really think the women's revolution has kind of been this year, changing it to the women's championship, Hell in a Cell matches, main eventing matches, high-profile matches, even a brand split. I think they've really had the women's revolution this year, and the women have really gone from being one of the worst parts of the show to one of the better parts of the show, to be honest with you. I think probably the cruiserweights right now is probably the worst part of the show, and I think the women are one of the better parts. So I would just say, WWE, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing right now. They probably need a few more women on each brand. I think they probably need another 3 women on Raw and SmackDown, because sooner or later, and this is going to happen with the men as well, we're going to see every match that could possibly happen. Every match type that's going to happen, we've already seen it, because there's a lack of people to really showcase. So they need some more women, so that will probably be the only thing. I don't know what you would do. There's no one from NXT really doing that well that I would bring in. And if they did get brought up, they would probably be the next Alicia Fox. And I say that as someone who's going to probably lose every match, maybe get a small push here or there, and that's about it. So I probably wouldn't wish that on any of the women down there. Maybe the only one I could bring up would be Asuka, but she's doing great down there, and there really is no one to kind of take over her place in NXT, so they might be reluctant to do so. So I would just kind of think about bringing in a few more women. Who that would be, I'm not 100% sure. And that would probably be about it. Just keep doing what they're doing. They're doing great. Next one's from Johnny Dixon. Which do you personally prefer, seeing a wrestler chase a title or to defend it? Personally, it depends on who the person is. I think we all loved watching Austin as champion, but, for example, Dolph Ziggler, I think we like watching him chase the title. Daniel Bryan, for example, as well. We liked watching him chase it, but when he finally won the title, it was great. It was a great moment. It was satisfying. But we kind of wondered, now what? He's the champion, now what? So it depends on the person, it depends on the storyline, it depends on the character. My personal opinion, I'd rather see my favorite person be champion rather than chase it. So if someone that I like the most, I'd rather them be champion rather than chase it. But I also definitely do enjoy the chase. It just kind of depends on the storyline. From Luke Norris. What's the one question you hate being asked, apart from do you play the matches? Probably the one question I get them asked the most is who's my favorite wrestler? Every time I do a stream, I probably get asked that about 10 times. Do I play the matches? Yes, that's very frustrating. Right now, I'm getting a lot of how do you do cutscenes? What system do you play on? Yeah. Do I play the matches is probably my most asked one, and that really drives me insane because in the description of every video of my Universe mode, I have it down there saying I play on the PS4 and I do not play the matches. Yet everyone still accuses me of doing it. I don't know. It's been this whole big thing. People trying to expose me of actually playing the matches for the last 3 years. People are trying to pick out pinpoints and trying to expose that, hey, no, that's actually you playing that. No, it possibly can't be the computer because this match was actually good. The computer never produces good matches. Well, guys, you would be surprised what the computer could do. You could be surprised. It's not me, trust me. I put the match on, I walk away, and I come back, and that's it. And I have no desire to play matches. People tell me all the time, Brendan, you need to start playing the matches because your show could be so much better. I don't think it would be. I think that element of surprise, when I commentate on a match in my Universe mode, 95% of the time I haven't seen the match. Because I record the match, I put it in, I edit it, and then I talk over it. I haven't seen the match. So when I'm watching something, it's really, for the first time, me watching it. If I play the whole match, I know what's coming next. I know what happens. I know everything about it. So, I think personally, I honestly, for me, for my personal enjoyment, me not having any involvement in the match makes it a lot more enjoyable for me. I don't know about the viewer. I don't think it necessarily matters about the match quality, so to say. I think the match quality is great. I don't know how much better it could possibly get. Maybe I'd have a few more big spots. Maybe superplexes to the outside of the ring. Maybe I'd put someone through the announce table more often. Maybe I'd do the ringside barricade. I would probably do way too much, and it would just be stupid. So, why not just leave it into the hands of the computer? Leave it up to fate. Whatever happens, happens. And that's the way I like to do it. From Alfonso Romero, besides gaming and going to school, what do you like to do for fun? I do not like to go to school for fun. I do like gaming, no doubt. I like playing sport. I haven't been able to play for a bit because my ankle's still kind of giving me some troubles. Also, I kind of missed out on sign-up days and things like that, so a lot of teams I wanted to go play for are filled up, so I can't play. I love playing sport. I love watching sport. Sport is probably my favourite thing in the world. Right now, cricket season's on, so in Australia, which, by the way, I could spend half an hour ranting about the Australian cricket team right now, but I know a lot of you guys don't follow cricket, so I won't. But it's a very frustrating time for me. But cricket is something I love to watch all day, every day. Every time it's on, I will sit down and watch it all day. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I love watching sport so much. I love participating in sport as well. Other than that, there's really not a lot I do. I kind of do the same things. I kind of work a lot on my videos. I make a lot of YouTube videos very often. Like, I spend a lot of my time doing that. I don't really read much. I don't write. I don't know. I don't really do much else. Just kind of gaming, making videos, watching sport, maybe occasional played sport. I don't know. That's about it. I don't really do a lot. Yeah, I'm a pretty simple guy, to be honest with you. Next one is from Jared Sanders. Since it sounds like The Undertaker's back full-time for at least a few months, probably until WrestleMania, do you see Undertaker versus AJ Styles taking place at the Rumble to attempt to sell at the Royal Rumble? We answered this earlier, but look, it's either going to be... I still think Taker's going to wrestle at WrestleMania and probably at the Royal Rumble. I don't think any time before that. It would have been great to see him at Survivor Series, like I said, but I don't think he's going to be back full-time. I think it's just going to be a couple of extra matches. I think it could be a case of he might be going on his last run. Maybe a small run, maybe he works the Rumble, maybe he works the pay-per-view before WrestleMania, and then he works WrestleMania. Maybe he works 3 in a row and calls it a day. I think they really need to start building towards his retirement. I still think he wants to keep going. I don't know if he personally knows when he wants to retire. He probably doesn't. He probably just wants to keep going for as long as his body will let him. But I think it would be a shame to miss out on that retirement moment. Building up a match as this is The Undertaker's last match. Could you imagine, the network sales, the subscriptions, like, hey, this is The Undertaker's final match ever. I think it would do wonders, and they would be really missing out on a big opportunity to promote that as such. So, I don't think he's back full-time. I think he'll be back probably for the Rumble, maybe another match in between the Rumble and WrestleMania, but I think it's mainly just he might show up every now and then, but I don't think he's necessarily going to have that many more matches. From Alfonso Romero, do you have any favorite actors, actresses, comedians? In terms of comedians, I don't watch stand-up comedy. The only one that I like is Jim Jeffries. My best friend, actually got me into watching him, and I was very reluctant because I'm like, stand-up comedy, it's not really my thing. But I watched him, and I just sit there and laugh for an hour. He's fantastic. You know, the only one I really like, every single one of his shows I've watched probably 6 or 7 of his DVD specials and Netflix specials or whatever. He's awesome. He's fantastic. So I love him. Favorite actors, I like The Rock. I like Mark Wahlberg. Trying to think. I like Ben Affleck. There's something a lot I just can't quite remember off the top of my head. Will Ferrell is always hilarious. He's one of my favorites right now. You know, every time he makes a movie, I gotta watch it because he's just so funny. He's just so funny. I like a lot of action and comedies and things like that. That's probably my 2 genres. Occasionally, I like a drama or a thriller, but yeah. So that's probably bad. I don't know. Al Pacino is probably one of my favorites as well. Like I said earlier in the show, I mean, I really like his gangster flicks. He's awesome. So a couple of those type of guys. I'm not a huge movie guy, to be honest with you. I just kind of will watch a movie here and there if it looks good to me. It doesn't necessarily have to be the greatest movie of all time for me to enjoy it. I'm pretty easy I'm pretty easy when it comes to movies. I enjoy movies, even if it's not that great. I can find the humor, I can find the enjoyment out of it. So I'm pretty easy when it comes to that. So there's a few that I kind of like. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this week's edition of the show. Survivor Series coming up. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. It should be a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's edition of the podcast. I thought last week's show was pretty shit, so hopefully I redeem myself this week. I really didn't like last week's show, but hopefully this week's a little better. Hope you guys enjoyed. I do apologize for the delay again and how late this show came out, but that's just the way things go. Hope you guys enjoy the show, and I'll see you all next Thursday.